Senator Cantwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to make it clear at the outset, I really do believe that we need clarity in our tax-exempt status on 501c4 organizations, and we need that clarity, Mr. Chairman, as soon as possible. I think that is a major issue. But I have a larger issue, which is just understanding at the IRS, Mr. Miller, what exactly exists today as a prohibition against investigating people, investigating organizations, targeting organizations based on political or religious or any other social issues.
So we would have two different areas. One is the determinations letter area where we had issues this time. We've elevated to an executive level the either creation of a list or the modification of a list. And the list will not have names on it. The list will have what it has.
No, I'm asking a larger question, which is what rule, what regulation, what statute is in place that prohibits an employee of the IRS from targeting people for either political, social, or any kind of personal reasons, and what are the safeguards? Mr. George, in response to my colleague from South Dakota, mentioned, the criminal code section that applies to revealing or disclosing personal information. But I'm asking, where is there a bright line at the IRS? Because what I think happened here is that somebody saw gray, and they saw a gray area, and instead of addressing the gray area, because it's clear Director Lois Lerner had an attempt to go back and give guidance when they were not there, and then didn't take action, and then more problems ensued. So my question is, I do not think that gray areas, whether it's in our national security and this media shield issue, or in this issue with the IRS, can be seen as a green light. Gray doesn't mean there's a green light to go ahead and use these powers of information to go on fishing expeditions. And so what I want to know is, does the IRS, either by law, by internal process, have something on the books right now that says you cannot target people for political or religious or other social issues within the IRS?
So I have to, forgive me, Senator, I have to go back and check on whether there's something specific on that. There are general rules of conduct that would indicate that you should not do anything that even gives the appearance of that type of activity. But I'm unsure, and we'd have to come back and let you know whether there's something specific statutory or regulatory in that area.
Mr. George, do you have any idea?
The Restructuring and Reform Act delineates a number, they call it the deadly sins, the 10 deadly sins. And one of them is the revealing of tax information willfully to harm a taxpayer. And so it is my understanding that that is one that, while administrative in nature, that does not have any criminal penalties associated with it, it could result in the removal from the position of the IRS employee.
But that's revealing that information to some outside organization?
It's the misuse of that information, actually, and how that's...
In this case, could this be seen as misuse of information?
In theory, it could be interpreted that way, Senator.
Well, I think it's clear that we need a very clear statute here. If not in intent that things happened, certainly the perception that this could have been the intent. And I agree with my colleagues that we have to have a very clear system here, that the American people know that this kind of targeting for political purposes does not happen and won't be tolerated, and that people would lose their jobs over that. Mr. Miller, the fact that you don't know crisply that in the context of whether this existed, it says to me that the bright line wasn't bright enough. The minute there was a gray area, the counterbalance should have been someone saying, this could be perceived as targeting an organization for political purposes. It's wrong. This is a violation of our organization. And they should go back and should have created a very, very different process. I worry in an information age with too much information in large organizations, people have got to get this point. And so, Mr. Chairman, thank you, but I also do believe that the 501c4 status issue needs to be resolved as quickly as possible as well. Thank you.
Like I said,